Welcome to the Grandstand. This particular show, we're going to talk to you a little bit about the MH370, and of course the MH370 has been missing for the last 10 days. With me, Dato Dr. Ahmad Sabirin, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Astronautic Technology Malaysia Sdn Bhd. We're going to talk a lot about satellites this particular morning. And Dato, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being on time, and thank you for volunteering your 1 hour's time to be here and talk to us a little bit about your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Right. Now, Dato, first question before we go on to our callers and all that, we would like the callers to know that what we're talking about here today would be a lot of relation with satellites, right? Which is a topic that Dato feels that it's very under discussed in this particular incident of the MH370. So, Dato, could you explain maybe the role of satellites in searching for the MH370, and of course the different satellites in different countries? Do they interlink with each other, or do they have different systems altogether, and that would make things harder for us to consolidate?
Okay, the satellites actually is very much useful for detection over large areas. And in fact, when we first heard about the news last Saturday, and we come out that we must deploy our own partner satellites to look for the aircraft. And in fact, we've been looking over South China Sea times and times again, and we have been using different satellites.
Right.
And like you said, there are different types of satellites in space. There are communications, there are remote sensing, sciences and whatnot. But the one that we've been deploying for the last 1 week was the remote sensing satellites.
Right.
And even though for remote sensing it has different capacity and different capabilities. And the one that we've been using is mostly high resolution imagery. And we use one satellite specifically for large areas from Spain.
Right. Dato, sorry to intervene you. Like Tom Knot, remember this website tomknot.com, which is they try to encourage so-called crowdsourcing satellite imagery so that we can identify if there are any so-called any issues or any differences in pictures and imagery. And this is the satellite that you are referring to. Is
yes,
it the same
it is a similar satellite, except the main issue with the satellites imagery and processing. If the experts are not processing it, they may not be looking for what is being intended for, in this case for MH370.
Right. And
there are many objects that we have seen from space, but whenever we do processing, it comes out to be a false alarms.
Right, and this Dato is referring to, of course, the wreckage that was found at the South China Sea. Yes, right. We're also talking about the raft that was found, and also the oil slicks.
The oil spills.
The oil spills also at the South China Sea, which of course is a false alarm. But Dato, what are the limitations and advantages of the satellites? End of the day, it is a wide area we're searching. We're talking about, if we say the plane U-turn heading towards the western side of the world, what are we talking about, the limitations of the satellite?
The limitation for the satellite is good for surveillance, for general surveillance, and it is not well used to track something that is moving.
Okay.
So here I'm assuming that the aircraft is still moving from point A to point B.
Right.
And last few days the Prime Minister's mentioned it has gone to Northern Corridor or Southern Corridor.
Yes.
So that makes life much more difficult.
That's right.
And if it has gone down somewhere, we could have found the wreckage somewhere. And the satellite is meant to be looking at the bigger areas. And it has limitation as well. For optical satellites, it doesn't see through at nights and over clouds. But then we are also deploying the radar satellites, and we have few satellites that is using radar. One from Canada, the Radar Sun, and one more from Germany and European Terasa.
From your operations right now to this very date, to this moment that you're sitting here and talking to me, what's happening? And can you maybe update us in terms of what have you done over the last 10 days to assist in this particular search?
Okay, for the last 10 days, actually, we have been deploying almost 11 satellites from many different partner countries. if I can mention those
Go ahead.
countries, there are from UK,
Okay.
from Spain,
Okay.
from France, from Emirates, and from Korea. I think one more that we are using is from Nigeria.
Okay.
So we're using from 6 different countries, and we are using their space assets to be looking for Malaysia. And some of these are not a very common satellites being used for commercial images.
Right.
But we wanted to add on different space assets to assist the finding MH370 for the governments.
Right, and you're talking about different satellites over here, right? Now these different satellites, of course, they have different functions, and like you said, they're not for civilian searches. But when you come to a case like this, now it's on its 10th day, coming on to the 11th day. It could be static, it could be moving, it could be even in camouflage, it could be even anywhere, right? It could be even down under the sea. So in terms of this particular imagery system, would the military or the radar system would actually assist you to identify and spot on? Because end of the day, we need a lot of people to zoom into this, right?
That's right. If we have the radar information but its whereabouts, we can help to identify and locate the aircraft. And there are two issues here. If it has gone underwater, it is impossible to locate the aircraft. The satellites don't have the capacity to look underwater. And secondly, if there is it has gone through canopy, and especially in tropical forests like Malaysia and neighboring countries, it is also impossible to look for this aircraft. And another challenge is if it gone in between the mountains. So this will make it much more difficult as well.
Okay. Off the record, right? What I understood was at the Banjaran Titi Wangsa area. From what I read, that's where the radar system is at its weakest. Is this true?
There are areas, partly because the radar doesn't work through mountains.
Okay.
And in between mountains as well. And it is at its weakest, but then the turn back information that we have received, it has crossed Banjaran Titi Wangsa.
That's right.
So now we know for sure that it has within the Andaman Sea, but from the information that we know and from the press releases done as well, nobody knows whether it gone north or south.
Right, and to determine whether it's gone north or south, it's either within that it's kind of 7 hours or the time we have. But the last transmission was at 8:11 a.m. That was on the Saturday morning, which is on I think March the 8th, Saturday morning. And with that particular information or particular transmission, would your team, if notified earlier, could zoom this down to the very point, but very tip?
If we have that information much earlier, we may be able to start imaging those areas again and again. But having said that, within this Indian Ocean, India has also offered its satellites, Rukmini GSAT-7. This is a military satellite that has the abilities to detect or to listen to any communication within this area. This is a very sophisticated military satellites that Indian own to look for is Indian Ocean, and these are large areas that they are covering. And then if the aircraft was within that areas, I believe the Indian satellite would have detected it somehow.
Right, and I think this mission right now is not more of a search and rescue mission, but it's moving on towards the apparently being hijacked kind of mission. And of course, when we talk about this, it's a redeployment of assets.
That's
it's a redeployment of intelligence. And of course, we in Malaysia, we've never, not only Malaysia, let's talk about the world. In the world, nothing like this has ever happened before, a plane going missing.
It is right, and this is unprecedented again. If we have different theories that we've discussed. If there is a wreckage, we could have found it. If this hijack, where are the demands?
Right.
So these are some issue that is not answered, so makes life difficult for us as well.
Right. So if you want to give us a call, you can always give us a call at the number. Can we flash the number again? Yep, that's the number on the screen. Can we flash the number on the screen again? We can actually call in and ask Dato over here if you have any questions about the satellite. 0326945420. That's 0326945420. Of course, if you want to ask Dato any questions about about the satellite, Dato is here.
Sure.
We're more than happy to help you out. But we're going to move on again. Now, do you see a big change in policy, in terms of how we run things? Because as we discussed off air earlier on, it has to be more of like a control center, a control room where we consolidate all the information coming in from all sorts of agencies around the world, and people in this particular room work together to disseminate information correctly to the right people. Because
yes, I agree with you. We need to have this more consolidated, coordinated activities, not just air and sea, but then we have to put in the space asset as well, as part of the whole integrated information. But for your information as well, for the space asset, we actually have a program under United Nations called UN Spider. This is to assist any natural disasters that occurs in countries where member countries will then contribute in giving out the images. And within Asia and Asia Pacific as well, we have this program called Sentinel, which is also sharing information and images to all neighboring countries. But so far it has always been about natural disasters, but nothing like this has ever happened. So this is testing new data for its new applications.
Would things like this happen, or that right now that the aviation industry could change? I mean, end of the day, if you look into 9/11, right? 9/11 actually changed security systems at the airports. This is March the 8th, and with this incident, would it change how satellites are monitored, or planes are monitored? Because end of the day, my question to Dato was, why did the pilots have a function to switch off the transponders?
Yeah, presumably, I think after this, perhaps the engineers might look into having a hard lock on the transponders that's not being able that don't allow the pilots to turn it off. So this will allow the aircraft, whether it is crashed somewhere, hijacked, being detected, and for the time being, it allows the pilots to turn it on and off. So perhaps this could be a policy change or technical change that can be done for the aircraft.
Right, Dato, we have a caller. His name is Idris. He's from Sungai Petani. Can we patch the caller through? Idris, hi.
Hello, Assalamualaikum and good morning to Dato.
Good morning.
Yeah, I just would like to know, because the information I heard from the news is that 8 o'clock some information was received from the satellite in Masat, right?
In Masat.
Yeah. So is it possible, because I understand it's only one satellite, is it possible that other satellites also receive the same signal from the aircraft, which means if you can get position from other satellite or information from other satellite, you should be able to fix the position of the location of the signal received at 8 o'clock. Is that possible at all?
Okay.
Okay, I think what Idris was trying to say is that one satellite picked up the system, but could other satellites picked up the same signal as well? That was actually
when it comes over to that Andaman Oceans, Andaman Sea, in Masat picks up the satellites ping the information, because the aircraft has got that ability to transmit that distress call or some signals to the satellites. And other satellites, like I said earlier, Rukmini from India might detect the same thing as well. But this has never been mentioned again, perhaps because Rukmini is a military satellite, and so it is confidential, classified, so they don't share that information with the public. In Masat is much more for global maritime distress and assistance, and this is being shared worldwide. But from that location is known, but once this is turned off, the whereabouts from the next point is not known. So this is a challenge to all of us now.
Dato, just to add on to what Idris has asked, right? Like what you said, military satellites, they may not disseminate information to the public due to the confident information, right? does it? I'm sure it's the same for whatever we are doing here today, because end of the day, if you know that we have our military radar as well, right? Now, when we talk about military radar disseminating, it has moved from search and rescue to hijack, and the moment when it moves to criminal investigations, a lot of information are withheld back for investigations. Would this actually be a bit more hard for investigators to find out where this plane is?
Definitely. I think once the information is being withheld by certain parties, the investigation by public institutions can be much more difficult.
Right.
Again, the sharing of information is now limited.
Right.
And we only know data from our own imagery satellites. And very little is known from other satellites.
Right. We're going to take a short break, Dato. When we come back, we're going to have more callers. Of course, we're going to look into what could be the changes that are coming in the future for the airlines industry once this case, the MH370 case, has been solved. Stay tuned.
Everything right and now on Bernama News.
Menyelami realiti, menjejaki masa, meninjau peristiwa, paparan kronikal kembara kehidupan, pelbagai keunikan juga pengalaman menarik dari dalam dan luar negara. Segalanya disorotkan selama setengah jam dalam jurnal Bernama setiap Ahad jam 9.30 malam hanya di Bernama TV. Ekonomi dunia, berita terkini, isu semasa, segalanya baru dan benar hanya di Berita Dunia.
Welcome back to the second segment of this particular show called Grandstand. Of course, it runs 11 to 12 p.m. You can call us 03-2694-5420 if you have any questions for Dato over here and our guest, Dato Dr. Ahmad Sabirin Arshad, who is the CEO of Astronautic Technology Malaysia, Sdn Bhd. Of course, earlier on we received a caller and we received a question about the satellite, whether one satellite picked up, whether the other satellites would pick up, but Dato's answer was maybe they are not sharing this information because it's a confidential information from another country. Perhaps. Now, moving forward from what we've already been hearing from the news for the last 10 days, right? In the future, let's talk about the policies that might change the aviation industry, not only here in Malaysia, but all over the world. We had airports tightening security, but in terms of moving forward with technology, what do you think that will change again in this from this particular case?
I think like what I've said, much more on the transponders or beacon that is transmitted to the satellites, because whenever you fly all over the world, there will be a satellite signals that will pick you up. And now there should be hardwired that cannot be turned off by the pilots anymore. This at least for one, we'll make sure that you can find the aircraft wherever it is, whether it is crashed, whether it is being hijacked, or whether it goes somewhere else. This can be located. For the time being, it is now either they don't have it or they have the ability to turn it on or off. I see that is one possible technical change that could have happened. Secondly, I think in terms of data sharing between different countries, and today what we have seen, 25 nations cooperating, and this has never happened as well. But I hope to see much more intense cooperation, not just between the search and rescues, but in terms of the data and sharing of information from all these countries.
And also airlines these days, of course, they have been trying their very level best. I've watched a lot of documentaries, watched a lot of Discovery channels about mega factories, about how planes are being built and all those kind of things. Yes, if safety is very important, but when it comes to technicalities, a lot of things are still manual in the aircraft, in the cockpit. A lot of things are still manual. Is there a way to digitalize things? Because what I heard and what I understood from the Boeing 777-200 is that the controls can be controlled from ground, which means the plane can actually fly on autopilot basis from ground. Is that true?
That's right. Okay. Yes. Now, in fact, they were talking if somebody can remotely fly the aircraft.
Right.
But then how do you then detach that information to the ground? Right. And there should be a handshake or handover to the person. And for the time being, that was not possible because there was no handshake. Okay. To allow somebody to fly from the ground, you must have that handshake protocol. Right. And of course, this particular person also has to see what's in front of them. That's right. And this is, I think we do similar thing with the satellites, because satellites are unmanned, and we are operating the satellites in space. We don't know where it is, how does it look like, and how does it behave. But we have all the instrumentation to help us to guide, to see the Earth here, and then to look at different stars. Right. So again, if you have any questions, you can give us a call, 03-2694-5420. You can ask Dato Dr. Ahmad Sabirin, Arshad over here, any questions regarding on satellite. And we had earlier a caller talking about satellites. Of course, this is a topic or a discussion that is under discuss in Malaysia, according to Dato. And Dato, you've been helping the Malaysian government, of course, for the last 10 days. Since the strategy has changed, what are your strategies together with your team to help assist the Malaysian government? Okay, for the last 1 week, we have been giving information to the Ministry of Science and Ministry of Science. Ministry of Science. They are also, because the Ministry of Science is having all the technologies to assist the governments in terms of searching for the missing aircraft. Okay. And we have partner countries that is having their own satellites, like I said to you, and we have been looking over South China Sea over and over, as I said, but now we wanted to deploy much more intense search for these new corridors, using both radar and optical sensors. Again, people are saying that we should be looking at high resolution, but for the first detection, we wanted to employ a low resolution images, because the high resolution doesn't have a wider coverage. Right. But the challenge here is that if we take the images times and times again, we need to be able to compare these images with the previous images, for example, for last month. Then only we can see some changes. Right. But if we don't have that last month images, it's going to be very difficult. Going to be hard to identify what's the changes there, right? Yeah. And I'm also wondering, right, once you take images from space straight to Earth, the planes that are flying in your path and in your way, would that be captured as well? No, we are not specifically looking at the aircraft, because there are so many aircraft flying over, and then when we look at the low resolution images, we don't see the aircraft. Okay. But we look more for something distinct, unknown objects within that image. Okay. People have seen movies like Enemy of States, where you can track people running. Yeah. But it doesn't really happen for space. Space takes still pictures, and spacecraft moves all the times. Okay. And it moves at very high speed, at 7 kilometers per second. Right. Oh, that's very fast. And then to be able to see some things, a static object or a moving object, moving it is almost impossible.
Right, and when you talk about zooming from space to Earth, also we're looking at the possibilities of looking into the jungle as well. Of course, sea is a lot easier to know. You know, if you see floating objects or unknown objects. But let's talk about land. You know, we've been discounting a lot. We've been looking a lot of search and rescue efforts is always at the ocean, and now we know there's a northern and southern corridor. What are the challenges that you would face when looking at the northern corridor of things towards the Myanmarese side, you know, the Tibetan side and all that?
The northern corridors, I think it will have similar challenges. It has these mountainous areas, and they cannot be covered with the limited factors for the satellites to get images of anything that is underneath the canopies.
Right, and we are looking for an intact plane. It's not.
Yes.
It's not the. And would crowdsourcing help you in this? Are you guys working with TomNot?
We are not specifically, but I'm sure some of the authorities are working on it. We have gathered our partners agencies within the known countries that has been having an experience doing it. France, for example, have been having their own networks doing it. Even then, these advanced countries, this is still puzzling for them. Right. They have never done this.
Okay, Dato, we have one caller. Miss Farida is from Kota Damansara. Hello, Farida.
Hi, good morning. Hi,
good morning.
Dato.
Hi.
Dato, right. It has been more than a week now, right? I mean, Boeing 777 is such a huge flight by itself, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if it's still there, you know, flew somewhere and with the current theory that it's been hijacked, wouldn't it be landing somewhere? I mean, at least even if it's not been detected by some radar, why not? Shouldn't somebody saw it at least? Because it's huge. I don't know, you know, this theory about this missing huge aircraft, you know, everybody is very much saddened and very devastated by all what's happening. You know, is there any other explanations why nobody has actually contacted any authority at all to say that they saw this plane landed somewhere? I'm sure it's landed somewhere. It's still there. I don't know. I mean, this is something that being discussed around by us, the public. We are very concerned about the well-being of the passengers on board. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Farida, for your concern. Now, Farida, just to answer your question first. First of all, I think we are all of us around the world are very concerned about the safety of the flight MH370. But over here, what we're talking to Dato over here is the power of using satellite to detect a plane like that. And what we need to understand is that we're looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yes, that's right.
Maybe Dato, you want to expand a little bit more to answer the question.
I think what you're saying is right. If the aircraft has landed somewhere, we are able to detect where it is.
Okay.
But for now, if it is landed somewhere, somebody would have known, and somebody would have made contacts. But this is not the case. And like I said, nobody can. We have all our theories, all our speculations, but nobody knows for sure. As an engineers and scientists, we are doing things based on facts and information that we receive. We hope that it is somewhere landed somewhere, and passengers are all safe. And that is always our wish. And again, the technological capacity that we have today doesn't allow us to know its whereabouts yet.
I think maybe I could add on to what Farida has been asking about. If let's say by any chance there are over 600 airports around this region, around this circle that we are at, right, surrounding Malaysia, according to the miles that we have about 600 airports, if I'm not mistaken. We're looking at this. If it lands in an airport that's closed, or if it lands in an secluded airport that doesn't have much communication abilities, right? What are the possibilities of detecting a plane in that particular area? If
they have landed on some airports, even though it is secluded, but it is still an open space.
That's right.
And that allows satellites to capture the image of the aircraft. This is a big aircraft.
Yep. That's right.
And then it can be seen by the satellites quite easily.
Right. Okay. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we've got more information. And Dato, can we talk about AWOCS? Remember, we have the AWOCS, the military plane, the one by Boeing. Maybe you could just shed some light on that. All right. All that and more after the break. Stay tuned.
Masa mengupas isu semasa, jadi saluran pelbagai suara, segalanya baru dan benar di Berita Bernama TV. Girang gemilang atau penuh kecundang, paparan kegairahan, laporan sukan tanpa sempadan, wadah bertenaga dan terkini, sukan at Bernama TV.
Welcome back to the third segment, and of course we have 4 segments altogether. Dato, Dr. Ahmad Sabirin is still with me here on the show. 03-2694-5420 is the number to call if you have any questions. We are not discounting of any fact of hijacking, and of course this has been announced by our Honourable Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Tun Razak on Saturday during his 1:30 p.m. press conference. We're also going to look about the possibility, Dato, over here, because Dato is a specialist in satellites. So we're going to ask you, Dato, about the Airborne Warning and Control System, AWOCS. It's not been brought up by any mass media in Malaysia. This is the first time I know I'm doing something a bit out of hand. But are there any possibilities of the AWOCS having to be escorting MH370?
For AWOCS to be escorting MH370, first it has to know its whereabouts.
Okay.
And AWOCS is known for coordinating the mission.
Correct.
For war and whatnot. And in this case, in my own opinion, I do not think AWOCS is now monitoring or following MH370.
Okay.
Because the plane location is not known.
Okay.
It has to be flying and all the times to be able to detect something mysterious.
It's because AWOX also has a capability, a radar jamming capability. Of course, this one we know about cloaking devices and airlines cloaking for the longest time. Even drones are being used these days. From satellite point of view, right? Is this possible to be cloaking a particular plane as big as this?
No, we can even jam our satellites. We can, many years ago there were talks about Star Wars during President Reagan times, and I'm sure something like this can happen. But again, that creates another theories that there's a third party involvement of getting this one in hand and getting this to be disappeared from the radar screen.
Okay, Dato, we have Idris again on the line, and apparently Idris has a question for us. All right, yes, can we talk to Idris?
Yes, good morning, Dato. I just would like to reinforce what I have asked earlier regarding getting the position of the signal received from satellites. Those days when we were sailing, I think we were only using stars for our navigation, and we were getting line of position to get our fix when we were sailing those days. But now I think with the satellite, I think if you can get information from various satellites of the same signal, you should be able to detect or obtain line of positions, right?
That's
what
right.
you said earlier is regarding the getting of information from other countries. I think at this stage, we should be able to back, at least we should be able to get this information if there are informations about this same signal received by Inmarsat satellites. And I understand Inmarsat also have many satellites from other regions. You see, you should be able to get this information from the same Inmarsat, not only from one satellite. The Indian Ocean region, the Pacific Ocean region, or what other regions you should be able to get, all from other countries. That, if you need to back, I think at this stage we should be able to do that. Thank you.
So, Dato, this is your expertise. I'm going to leave it to you.
Yes, Captain. This is my good friend, Captain Idris. Yes. I am sure Inmarsat has offered the expertise to the government, and I know that there are more than one satellite. You're right. Inmarsat has much more than one. They got constellation of satellites, and that's why when they last detect the ping position, they are able to know its whereabouts. But then when they lost that communication, this is not being disclosed by Inmarsat, so we don't know what actually happens. But I'm sure the authorities will know. The last location is known, but whether it flies up or not, this is still not known to the public like us. But I'm sure the authorities might know something.
Might know already, and they're not disclosing this information because it's a confidential information, right?
Or maybe still premature for them to disclose for at this time.
Okay, and also I would like to ask you, Dato, in terms of radar, to avoid radar detection, we've spoken about this theory of air as well. To be flying, this particular pilot knowing where to fly, where to go, which particular area that doesn't have much radar satellite power, which means we're looking at a very experienced pilot to be piloting through all these terrains, right? And of course, the plane apparently is flying at 5,000 feet to avoid radar detection. Is that kind of a true conspiracy or not?
The airplanes can be detected even though it is flying at lower heights or lower altitudes. We know that the primary radar can detect the aircraft even though it is flying at even 100 feet from the ground. Okay. But again, if it goes to outside the coverage of the primary radar, and then the secondary radar might not be there to pick up where it's whereabouts. Okay. And for somebody to be doing this, you need to have somebody who understand where are the radar coverage within all these places.
And one radar coverage, like I asked off air as well. One radar coverage, primary radar coverage, how far would it go?
It might go depends on it might go between 200 nautical miles and whatnot. And the second challenges again, if it goes in between the mountains, that will be difficult to ping where the satellite, where the aircraft is.
Right. Dato, we have one caller from Ipoh. Hello. Hi. Hello. We have a caller from Ipoh, right? Hello. Did we lose the caller? Oh, okay, we lost the caller. No worries. You can give us a call again, 0326945420. 0326945420. You can flash the number on the screen, and you can call us at this particular number. You can ask Dato on any questions regarding whatever you want to know about satellite information and how it works, and of course how it works, and also how to use the information that we have to find the aircraft. We have a same caller from Ipoh again. Can we speak to her now? Hello.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Good morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Hi. Who are we speaking to? Uma Devi?
Yes, Umadi speaking.
Yes. Can you direct your questions to Dato, please?
Yes, I would just like to say that there's the possibility that, actually I just would like to say the possibility of where the plane maybe it might have landed,
Okay.
Because I see that there was a case of avalanche in somewhere in Kashmir just 2 days after the plane got lost.
Okay. So this is a speculation,
So-
Uma Devi.
Yeah, so there's a possibility because they're only searching in the sea,
Okay.
and usually, these areas like snowy mountains, quite difficult to detect, and nobody else to inform them also, yeah?
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I just want to give my view.
All right. Thank you very much. Dato, is there a possibility?
We do not know for now.
Yeah.
For now, we do
No,
not
what I
know.
meant is there a possibility to not be detected in snow area or snowy area, mountainous area? We go back to the point of the mountainous area that we were talking about, earlier.
The mountainous area, if we are flying using the image of satellites, because of the metallic structures of the aircraft, we can detect these structures if it is on snowy mountains and whatnot. We have better technologies than what we had many years ago. Remember when we have this Andes accidents
Okay.
in Chile, where we had this aircraft that landed on the mountains for 3 months that they cannot find
The plane.
the planes. But now with the current technologies, the imagery are much more powerful, and they are able to see and reflects energy from the metallic structures, and this is one of the main advantage of the satellite image.
Okay.
Like you said, if there is an avalanche, if it's covered by snow, again it doesn't detect anything underneath any snow coverage or soil and whatnot.
Right, and we're talking about visibility over here with your satellite, right? We're not talking about them pinging the satellite again. We're just talking about visibility.
That's right.
But the possibility, I also just wonder, right? The possibility of yes, transponders can be switched off. Everything can be switched off, but also can it be how to say? You see, sometimes
Turn on again.
Yeah, return on again, because like some of our mobile phones these days, right? Let's go a bit later.
Oh yes, you cannot return on the transponders.
Not by them manually, but by a remote party, which means that like mobile phones, we are able to detect where the mobile phones are by the mobile phone companies if the phone is still turning on, if the phone is still pinging, right?
I don't think
I
don't think you have that ability for this aircraft.
Okay.
For now.
For now, and it's
Perhaps you say that'll be the new things that should be done.
right. And moving forward from this particular thing, we also understand that the ACAS system is to track the plane information. The possibility of another pilot responding to the okay, all good, okay, good night. Is there a voice recognition or something like that? You know what I mean? Because there is a 12:41 takeoff, and then a 1:30 message lost, and the last message was all okay, good night kind of thing, right? Do you think that they have something like a voice?
I don't think they have this voice recognition, because now they cannot tell who
was the one that actually replied, right?
Even though I believe, because they are talking on the same frequencies, the other pilots that is flying within that areas can listen to that conversation.
Right.
But in terms of who was actually giving that message, I don't think they can make the analysis for now.
Right. And do we have still callers? If you want to call us and share your questions, 0326945420, 0326945420. We have one caller right now, Sarah from Ipoh. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Fabian.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi, Fabian. Hi, Bernama. Hi, Dato.
Hi.
Sir, I have a question for you.
Yes, go on.
Okay. Besides the authorized body that trying their best to sort out the mysteries behind the missing of our MS370, we have many mathematical experts who could even offer their expertise to help out besides prayers back home. In your opinion, Dato, do you think by the figures provided by some research group through satellite are appropriate to help these authorities to help to sort out the mysteries behind this? Because we as Malaysians, it is our responsibilities to ensure all the passengers to be back home safely. So why not call out for those who are really expert in maths? Because in Malaysia, we have quite good number of maths experts. So why not?
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. Dato, I know you have the answers with you. Sarah, you gotta wait until the commercial break. When we come back, Dato will answer. We will not forget your question. We will answer your question after the commercial break.
Headlines, illuminating visuals, everything right and now on Bernama News.
Menyelami realiti, menjejaki masa, meninjau peristiwa, paparan kronikal kembara kehidupan, pelbagai keunikan juga pengalaman menarik dari dalam dan luar negara. Segalanya disorotkan selama setengah jam dalam jurnal Bernama setiap Ahad jam 9.30 malam hanya di Bernama TV. Ekonomi dunia, berita terkini, isu semasa, segalanya baru dan benar hanya di Berita Dunia.
Welcome back to the fourth segment. My name is Fabian Nassis. Together with me, Dato Dr. Ahmad Sabirin Arshad, who is the CEO of Astronautic Technology Malaysia Sdn Berhad. We are talking about satellites over here, and earlier on, before the commercial break, we had Sarah. Of course, Sarah's question was very simple. We have a lot of mathematicians around. Why don't pool these resources together to help out in the search and rescue or the tracking of the MH370? Before we answer this, we're going to take another caller, Dato, and then we'll answer two questions at one time. All right? Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dato, questions to you. 4 questions actually. Okay. I wanted to ask you, the handshake will show the path of the flight, right? So you will know where the final place it went, right? If it stopped for refueling and then it went further than that, say that it can go further, would you know? One. Second thing is, I want to know why is Afghanistan not included in the list of countries? And the third one, do you have all the satellite images of all airports?
Sorry, Alan.
Yeah?
Can you repeat your second question because we missed your second question?
Okay, the second question is why Afghanistan is not included in the list of countries
Oh,
that we
why
are
Afghanistan is
getting
not included
cooperation
in the
from.
list? Okay, and the third one will be?
The third one is, do we have all the satellite images of all airport and runways? Is there anything or anywhere that we don't have the satellite image or someone is hiding something from us, like terrorists or something to that extent?
Okay.
The fourth one, I would like to ask, is it a good idea to use drones, the drones in addition to satellites?
Right.
That would be all, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Alan. Dato, you want to start with Alan first, or you want to start with Sarah first?
Let's start with Sarah first because she asked the question first. And Sarah, yes, we thank you, and we know there are a lot of experts in Malaysia and all over those wanting to assist. But I can tell you as well, there are many people wanting to contribute. But I'm sure the government has got their own SOP in terms of putting this bright ideas together, and we are also contributing to the ministry, and then the ministry will then coordinate to the search and rescue team.
And also off air, I've spoken to Dato, just Sarah, just to add on to what Dato is trying to say over here is that currently things are not on a SOP basis. Everything is out of the books and out of SOP because this is the first time something like this ever happened, not only in Malaysia, in the world. And we are just finding out, we're banging walls and finding out as per usual of what's actually happening, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And let's move on to Alan over here. Yes.
What was the first question?
The first question was okay, I remember the second question because it was very clear. The second question was basically we're talking about Afghanistan. Why is Afghanistan is not into this?
I'm not sure why Afghanistan was not included, but then presumably when we are doing the scanning, even for satellites, we do cover Afghanistan.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean that they may not have the capabilities in terms of providing to Malaysia in terms of the images and whatnot. And I presume that could be one reason why they are not part of the list. But in terms of looking at the images, we do look in images of Afghanistan as well.
Okay.
And I think Alan did ask in terms of the last location and how come we don't know about the refueling?
The refueling, yes.
And in fact, we don't know about the refueling. And even though the aircraft has to be refueled at some points, but we don't know its whereabouts or where it is being refueled. We know it is last location over the ocean, but we do not know more than that.
But do you know much about aircrafts to be known whether the Boeing 777 could be refueled from air? I don't know. I'm just asking. If it's not your expertise, then it's
I know some aircraft have the abilities, but I'm not sure whether Boeing 777 has got the abilities. Okay. Mostly the one that has got these abilities are the fighter jets.
The fighter jets, which is always a single nozzle kind of thing, right?
I'm not sure about Boeing 777.
All right.
But if it is on air refueling, which airline is refueling that Boeing 777?
Right, there must be a plane that's running to refuel.
So that's another speculation of third
countries, and also it also adds towards the AWOCs that I've asked earlier on. It's something like that. Who are the third party that's assisting in this particular thing, right?
That is anybody's guess.
Exactly.
That's anybody's guess.
Can you remember his fourth question?
What was your fourth question, Alan?
Maybe Alan, you want to give us a call again and double check with us because there were so many questions. A lot of people, even the studio was throwing questions at us. 0326945420, the number to call. Alan has two more questions that we didn't really answer yet. Let's talk also about the 9/11. 9/11 has also caused a lot of things. A lot of there are actually 5 planes that are supposed to crash. Some even at the Pentagon, but it was stopped. What's the possibility of the plane being stopped from reaching its destination? What do you think? I mean, like from what you have seen over the last 10 days, right? What you can tell us that we do not know, maybe.
For Boeing 777, I don't think anything else can stop it. If it would have been stopped, it would have been stopped days ago.
Right.
But the fact that we still do not know its whereabouts. If it is still flying, it is still flying.
Right.
Or it could be on some landing strip somewhere.
That's all. Then it raises my question: are there planes that are flying without, disseminating information to the radar systems? Which means that your air traffic control, are there planes flying without informing people about this?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of.
Not that
and it must
not a commercial plane.
But how about private jets? You know, there are certain private jets that carries nine people.
Private jets still have to communicate from one tower to another tower.
Right.
They still have to get the airspace clearance to fly.
But what if things like this happen? I'm just wondering. In terms of does the radar picks it up that the plane is actually flying, or if it can be switched off as well, it can fly anonymous.
It can do that, but then for a pilot to be doing that, they are risking themselves and the passengers on board.
Right.
So I don't think anybody in the right frame of mind will want to do that.
Right, unless there's a
something
motive
else
and behind it. And I heard that we have Alan on the line again. No? Okay. All right. Well, we've come to almost an end of the show.
Yeah.
We've got about a few more minutes to go. You can give us a call, 0326945420. I think we can take one more last caller. If we have any caller, 0326945420 is the number to call. We have Dato Dr. Ahmad Sabirin Arshad, who is the CEO of Astronautic Technologies, Sdn Bhd, one of the companies under the government agencies to be assisting in the search of MH370. Do we have any callers? No more. Okay. Maybe Dato, your thoughts and your views of the future game change or plan change. You've spoken about it earlier on, but maybe we can re-enlighten us a little bit about things that are going to change now.
I think the game changer part of it is Malaysia must have some sort of independency in terms of its own technological capabilities. For now, we are very much dependent on others, and I would like to see in the coming futures, maybe not too long, Malaysia has its own constellation of satellites.
Okay.
We do have one satellite many years ago, but we need to start again the next projects, programs to have not just one, but maybe different sort of suites of optical and sensor satellites.
Right.
The one that will address many issues and that will cope with Malaysians in terms of during emergencies. Right,
and you're also talking about more differences in SOP and to change things here at the airport security. We're also going to talk about how airline industry is going to revolutionize after this particular incident. Sure. Right.
I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of that next many months, years to come from now.
Right. Our hearts and thoughts goes to the families of the victims of MH370. We still do not know what's happening. This is day 10, moving on to day 11 tomorrow. Dato, thank you very much for sharing light on this particular under-informed area of the MH370, the satellite imagery system, where it's being used to track the MH370, but it's not talked about openly or not talked about in mass media. Thank you for your time, Dato.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching Bernama. Thank you for watching Grandstand. Thank you for watching Bernama TV. Stay tuned. We got the news updates next right here on Bernama TV.